A quality spare wheel bag is one of the most important accessories you can add to your vehicle, but the question is, how much does price impact quality and functionality? Is this $49 King's wheel bag just as good as the Crashpad bag that cost $239? Also, if price really gives you better quality, why did this $200 bag break in my test? To find these answers, I bought 6 of Australia's most popular spare wheel bags ranging in price from $49 to $240 and tested them in several areas. Ease of installation, security of fitment, water resistance, and then finally capacity and storage. The better the bag performed, the more points it gained. So by the end of this test, we will add up all the points to see which bag is worth your hard-earned money. What's up everybody, I'm Ayman and welcome back to Bush Business. Before we get stuck into the testing, for full transparency, I paid for every single bag in this test with my own money. No sponsorship, no discounts, no affiliate links. I paid retail for everything, so you can expect brutal honesty. Also, as this test covers a lot of ground, timestamps are in the description below if you want to skip ahead. But watching the whole test paints the perfect picture. Let's get stuck straight into business. At $49.95, the Adventure King's Dirty Gear bag is the least expensive bag in the test. Construction is 400 GSM heavy-duty waterproof PVC, total claimed capacity 48 liters. It has 2 mesh side pockets with vinyl covers, held shut by a plastic clip. The single main compartment is 42 liters and sealed with a large zipper. The King's bag does not have a clean storage pouch. There is a single perforated drain hole, and this might get clogged over time with dirt. The King's bag is secured to the tire using straps. The straps are stitched to the back of the bag directly and are connected using medium-sized plastic buckles. Installation was fiddly, the straps are too long and the clips kept falling out of them. Because the bag's full weight hangs off these plastic straps and the buckles don't grab the straps tightly, I believe that this bag is the most likely to loosen and sag over time. Next up on our list is the XTM spare wheel bag at $79.99 or $59.99 for BCF Club members. Claimed capacity is 60 liters and it has 1 main storage area, 2 side pockets, and 1 front clean storage pouch that is closed with Velcro. Main storage area and side pockets are sealed with large zippers. Construction is 600 GSM reinforced PVC. Visually, it is the same material as the King's bag, but slightly thicker. XTM also claimed reinforced stitching on the straps, but the stitching looks identical to the King's bag. The XTM and the King's are nearly identical in design. Same stitching, same straps, same drain hole. And this makes me wonder if they're made in the same factory. Luckily, however, the clip design is different to the King's, so the straps didn't keep falling out of the buckles when I was trying to install it. And because of that, whilst installation was nearly identical to the King's bag, the XTM scored slightly better in the relevant categories purely because of the better buckle design, which is less likely to release over time. At $119, the Echidna Outback is the most affordable canvas bag in this test. It also has the thickest canvas and PVC out of all the bags being tested today. 520 GSM hard-coated waterproof canvas, 840 GSM PVC lining. Echidna claimed that the main storage area is 65 liters, and this might not be so accurate as you'll see later. It also has a clean storage pouch on top of the bag, 2 mesh side pockets. The position and shape of the top pocket is not ideal in my testing. Things fell out very easily once opened. Both the compartments are sealed with high quality zippers. The Echidna is the only bag in the test with a stiff reinforced base and bar tack stitching for added durability and puncture resistance. Despite being one of the more affordable bags on our list, it scored maximum points for material quality. Installation was also the easiest out of any bag in this test. The buckles sit away from the tire, allowing for a tight, comfortable installation. Combined with the reinforced stitching, metal buckles, and wrap-over design, the Echidna scored maximum points for ease of fitment and security of fitment. It also scored highly for sagging resistance. Echidna also includes a removable mesh inner bag, a 4mm coil security cable, and a weatherproof combination lock. For $119, this is a really good value for money so far. Next, the Darche off-grid spare wheel bag at $199. Claimed capacity 77 liters, the highest in this test. The shell is constructed from 330 GSM poly cotton canvas lined with 600 GSM PVC. The side pockets are 6 liters each, the largest in the test. The Darche also has a generous clean storage pouch. The main compartment and the clean storage pouch are closed with zippers. The main zipper appears to have a waterproof design, whilst the secondary zipper does not. Side pockets have vinyl covers secured with plastic clips. The Darche bag also has 3 drainage holes in total, 2 for the main compartment and 1 for the clean storage pouch. A removable mesh bag is also included with the Darche as part of the purchase price. Unlike the other canvas bags, the Darche doesn't wrap around the tire completely. It sits on a small patch of canvas on top, secured by 2 vertical straps and 2 horizontal straps. All clips of the Darche are made out of plastic. The Darche scored well for installation, however the horizontal straps aren't usable in my setup without removing the spare tire completely, and whilst other bags do have horizontal straps, the straps on the Darche cannot be removed without removing the plastic buckles due to their size. While tightening the straps during the installation, the stitching on the bottom straps holding the clips began to fray and fail on the Darche. Not something you expect from a $200 bag. And because the weight of this bag isn't supported by the canvas like the other 3 canvas bags, the load is carried almost entirely by the straps. This, combined with the poor quality of the stitching, drops its scores in security of fitment and build quality. Next is the Australian-made Blacksmith Camping Supplies wheel bag at $219.90. This is one of my personal bags and has been on my trailer for several months now. Construction is dyno-proofed 370 GSM Australian canvas with heavy-duty 680 GSM Australian PVC lining. Durable core-spun polycotton reinforced stitching on all stress points. It also has metal buckles at the front. The claimed capacity for the Blacksmith is 70 litres and it has 2 mesh side pockets but no clean storage area. Unlike any of the other bags in this test, the Blacksmith doesn't use drainage holes. Instead, it has a double-layered mesh-based design for quick drainage. Very useful for releasing sand, mud, and for drying your wet gear. The mesh base is supported with additional strapping and feels relatively puncture resistant. Like the Echidna, the Blacksmith uses shaped canvas to sit over the top of the tire. 2 straps run from the rear of the canvas through the plastic buckles at the bottom and then continue up to high quality metal clips at the front. This means that the weight of the bag is supported by heavy duty straps and it's distributed across the entire bag rather than being carried by the stitching alone. The Blacksmith also has 2 stainless steel 6mm D-rings at the front for hanging recovery gear or rope. There is a reinforced eyelet on the rear of the canvas, which I believe is for theft prevention, but unlike the Echidna bag, Blacksmith haven't provided any locks or cables for this. It is worth checking to make sure that this eyelet doesn't scratch your canopy or trailer. Installation was very easy, only narrowly missing the top spot because the lower bracket strap is slightly longer than Echidna's. This makes it marginally harder to fully tighten, but I am splitting hairs here. The Blacksmith bag scored maximum points for secure fitment and sagging resistance, as well as scoring near maximum points for hardware and build quality. Finally, the most expensive bag in the test is the Crashpad Stealth Mark II at $239. This bag has been on my Land Cruiser for almost 2 years now and has seen many adventures. The lack of wear or damage on this bag is testament to its build quality. Construction is 410 GSM outer canvas with 600 GSM PVC lining. It has 1 clean area storage pouch and 2 mesh side pockets. The clean storage pouch is sealed with a high quality zipper. Claimed capacity for the Crashpad bag is 70 litres. Inside of the main compartment, there is a Velcro secured divider and a single drainage hole. Like the Blacksmith and Echidna, the Crashpad is shaped to sit over the top of the tire, spreading the loaded weight across a large surface rather than on the straps themselves. The Crashpad is secured with straps running from behind the tire to the plastic clips just like the Blacksmith. However, unlike the Blacksmith, the Crashpad has a separate front strap that stitches beside the rear strap. That front strap is then secured using high quality metal clips on the front. Despite being very well made, the Crashpad was by far the most difficult bag to install and remove. As the buckles clip in behind the spare tire, it makes it very difficult to both tighten the bag and mount your tire tightly to the flat canopy. Tightening the straps blocks access to the spare tire mount, and tightening the tire mount means you can't access the buckles and straps to tighten the bag. As a result, the Crashpad scored minimum on ease of installation, and because it can't be mounted as tightly as the other bags, it lost in several other key areas. Even though these bags are primarily marketed to carry dirty gear and rubbish, water resistant still matters for avoiding mold and smells. Many items that I personally carry need to remain dry, items like firewood, shoes, and so on. To test the resistance, all bags were placed side by side and soaked with my garden hose at various angles and at full pressure. It is a harsher test than actual rain, but we want to expose any leaks or sealing flaws that these bags might have. Despite being marketed as waterproof PVC, the Kings and XTM both showed pinhole gaps around the stitching. These are clearly visible when you hold the bags up and look at the sun. Combined with their large zippers, these two bags scored the lowest in the water resistance testing. This is also a reflection of their lower grade construction and materials. The Echidna surprisingly also scored poorly in this test despite its PVC lined main compartment. The top pocket showed considerable water ingress, and I'm not sure if that is from the water hitting the zipper directly or pulling through the canvas. Either way, that pocket isn't suitable as a dry storage area. The shape of the bag also means that water pooling on top will eventually leak through the stitching and canvas over time. The main compartment itself, however, was fairly water resistant. The Blacksmith result is more about design rather than construction. The main compartment resisted the water very well, but the open mesh design means that muddy and dirty water is going to enter the bag when you drive through the rain. And with no other sealed pockets or compartments to compensate, it scored a 6 out of 10 for weather sealing. The Darche showed promise thanks to its vinyl covered main zipper, but was not the winner of this test. Water easily entered the clean storage pouch through its zipper, and the main area remained reasonably dry. It would have scored higher if both the zippers shared the same waterproof design. The winner of the weather sealing was actually the Crashpad. It is the only bag in the test with both a clean storage pouch that is also a dry area. This is also a result that I can validate in my years of using the bag. The final and most important test is to see which wheel bag can fit the most gear. This test will be broken into 3 individual tests compared against the manufacturer's claims. The first test is to see if each bag can carry what I normally pack for a camping trip. Second, I will check the volume of each bag using these jerry cans. And third, how much firewood can each bag actually carry? The firewood will test both the weight-bearing capacity of each bag and its puncture resistance. Starting with the budget option, the Adventure Kings. With the lowest claimed capacity at 48 liters, it is the smallest bag in the test. It did fit all of my regular items, but with the gumboots and the tarp in the main compartment, there's no room for me to take anything else including rubbish. With no secondary pouch or dry areas, I can't carry my regular items like rubbish bags and sunscreen without mixing them with the dirty garbage zone. It is not ideal, and I definitely don't want my sunscreen or shoes smelling like rotting garbage. The Kings was also the only bag that couldn't fit a 25-liter jerry can in its main compartment. I had to use the narrower 20-liter jerry can instead. To my amazement, however, the Kings bag did manage to take the full 20-kilogram bag of firewood, although I don't recommend using it for that purpose due to the high risk of the bag breaking. As expected, the Blacksmith easily carried the firewood. However, despite its claimed 70-liter capacity, it didn't score very well in the capacity tests. This is due to the same limitations as the Kings bag. No dedicated clean storage area, no extra pockets. Even though the bag is large and spacious, I can't carry items that I don't want to mix with my dirty goods unless I use the side pockets, which are not waterproof. It did, however, carry the 25-liter jerry can, but it was noticeably smaller than the other canvas bags in this test. With a score of 9 out of 16, the XTM narrowly beat the Blacksmith. This was primarily because of its additional front pocket, whilst having similar main storage capacity. Just like the Blacksmith, it carried all the firewood and fit the 25-liter jerry can. But just like the Kings, I don't believe that this bag will be suitable for heavy loads or items like firewood that can easily puncture through the PVC. The Crashpad has long demonstrated its ability to carry my equipment over the time that I've owned it, and it scored a respectable 11 out of 16 in this test. Despite a fantastic clean and dry storage pouch and easily handling the full bag of firewood, it was limited by its main storage area when compared to the Darche and the Echidna. And on that note, one of the biggest surprises in my test was actually the Echidna Wheel Bag. It has an official capacity rating of only 65 liters, lower than most of the bags in this test. However, the Echidna scored near perfect results, 13 out of 16 for the capacity testing. The 65-liter claim is possibly understated. It carried all of my belongings, the full bag of firewood, my tarp, and my gumboots all at the same time. It demonstrated far more usable space than the Crashpad and the Blacksmith bags, which I have been using on the Land Cruiser and the trailer. Not only did it fit the 25-liter jerry can, there was so much more space left that I added a second 20-liter jerry can right next to it. Incredible space for the price of this bag. The Echidna, however, was penalized for the design and the waterproofing of its top pocket. The undisputed champion of space was of course the Darche, scoring a near perfect 15 out of 16. The largest pockets, an incredibly spacious main storage area that easily fit both jerry cans, the firewood and all of my luggage, plus a front clean storage pouch. Like the Echidna, however, it lost a point because the clean storage pouch isn't waterproof. But it did beat the Echidna with a better positioned front pocket and the slightly larger main storage compartment. With the testing complete, we have accurate, reliable scores for every bag, but we can't ignore that prices ranged from $49 to $239. And with the current economy, cost heavily influences the buying decision. And it's unfair to expect a $50 bag to perform like a $240 bag. However, it is important to consider that quality does cost money. And to account for this, I scored each bag on price out of 30 possible points using a scale based on the cheapest to most expensive bags that I can find in Australia. This scale is from $50 to $500. And as a side note, the most expensive bags in the Australian market to my knowledge are the Cheeky Kids and Destination 4-wheel drive bags at around $495 each. I did want to include them in my test, but neither was within my budget and neither company would supply one for testing. To make the results easier to present, I will be giving each bag a final rating of 100%, 70% for performance, 30% for price. Let's look at the results. Our worst performing bag with a score of 45.7 out of 100 was the Adventure Kings bag. Despite earning a perfect 30 out of 30 for its market-leading low price, it lost points across nearly every performance metric. The lowest build quality, the lowest features, and the most likely to sag and come loose. In my view, this bag is only suitable for lightweight rubbish, and even then the straps need to be checked regularly so they don't loosen over time. Coming in 5th place is the XTM bag with a score of 50.8 out of 100. Like the Kings, it capitalized on its low price tag, but because the XTM is so similar in build and quality to the Kings, it shares the same drawbacks. It gained a few extra points mainly for its larger size and the additional pocket. Both the XTM and Kings were frustrating to use in my testing. The zippers didn't operate smoothly, and the vinyl flap covering the zippers is stiff and annoying to move out of the way for one-handed operation. And this does matter because most of the time, you're carrying something to or from the bag, so single-handed operation is very important. A huge surprise for me was to see my Crashpad in 4th spot with a score of only 62.9%. Despite a perfect score for weather sealing and strong results in build quality and hardware, it was heavily penalized for its high price tag and the disastrous fitment score. Having owned this bag for almost 2 years, I never realized how difficult it was to install and remove until I ran this test. That difficulty had a flow-on effect to other categories. You can't position or tighten the bag correctly, you can't clean the front pocket as it has no drain, and you can't just take the bag off to clean it because it's very hard to remove and put back on. The Crashpad would have scored considerably higher if the buckles were placed on the bottom of the wheel bag instead of behind the wheel. Crashpad, if you're watching this video, please explain. In 3rd place, perhaps undeservingly given the quality issue I experienced, is the Darche Spare Wheel Bag with a score of 69.5%. It gained massive points in storage-specific categories. The largest pockets, the largest storage area, plus bonus points for a removable liner as well as good drainage. The Darche's biggest letdown was the build quality and hardware. The frayed stitching on the straps under a simple tug from a brand new bag is a huge letdown for a $200 bag. Sadly, this one is going to have to go back to Darche for a replacement or a refund. Quite disappointing because it has the potential to be one of the best bags in the market. In 2nd place, and in my opinion the best looking of all, is the Blacksmith wheel bag with a score of 70.5%. The Blacksmith showed some of the best build quality and specifications of any bag on the market. It scored highly and respectably in most categories. The mesh bottom was both a pro and a con, points for ease of cleaning but deductions for weather sealing. The missing element to this bag's success was the lack of a clean, dry storage area. No dedicated dry area means I can't use this bag on my Land Cruiser even if I wanted to. Adding a pocket like the Crashpad and widening the base by a few centimeters would transform this bag into something incredible. Blacksmith, guys, come on, just make a removable waterproof pouch that clips onto the D-rings or something. You guys make that stuff all the time. Finally, the winner and the biggest surprise of them all with a score of 83.6% is the Echidna Offroad bag. Despite having an average score for weather sealing, it easily made up for the lost points everywhere else. It has some of the best materials and build quality of any bag in the market. It is incredibly well priced, it has some great features, and it has some great free inclusions. My only suggested improvement for Echidna is to work on the weatherproofing of the upper pocket. It is worth mentioning too that since I have purchased this bag, the version 3 has been released for pre-orders. And even though the version 2 in this test has the thickest canvas and PVC, the version 3 will have even thicker, stronger materials and even more UV resistant canvas. But it does come at a slightly higher price of $139, which is still an absolute bargain when you consider how much bag you get and all the free inclusions. And all of this now leaves me with one remaining question to answer. Which 2 of the 6 bags do I keep for my Land Cruiser and trailer? Help me make the decision in the comments. Which bag do you like the most? Which bag do you think looks the best? And which 2 of the 6 should I keep? Also, if you enjoyed this video, please show your appreciation with a like, a comment, and hit that subscribe button for me. It makes me feel a lot better about buying all of these bags to test. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.